Welcome to Gene and Mike do the New York Times crossword.
Hi, I'm Jean.
And I'm Mike. And today we are doing the crossword for Saturday, November 2nd, 2024. So, on the day before we have to do something weird with the clocks, did you do the crossword?
I did do the crossword.
And did you do the crossword in a timely fashion?
I did. It actually had two T's on it. So, two black squared T's, like time.
Oh.
Do you see that?
I do see that.
Uh-huh.
One of them is upside down.
Right. Uh-huh.
So I'm not sure if that's so much a T as like a side view of a game of Battleship.
Well, it certainly turned me upside down, this puzzle.
Mm-hmm.
So, coming or going, upside down or right side up. This was a tough puzzle.
Yes. At first, I thought it was really tough. And then I think I'm trying to decide now whether our brains warm up or whether it's just we've got more letters in, so we've got more chances of figuring out the rest. I think it's sort of both. But
I guess, but I had to fight for every answer, it seemed like, and put letters in and take letters out and try this word and then take it out and put in another word and then put in the original word. And I was just really working for each answer.
Well, good. It's a Saturday.
Yeah, that's what it should be.
Yep.
But I did get through it. Lots of times when I do this, I'll get almost all of it done, but there'll be one I can't get or one area that just doesn't work. But I did get this one, so I felt pretty good about that.
Yeah, I felt terrific when I got it.
But this was by Blake Slonecker, and I think I'd seen him before, and as I recall, he writes pretty tough puzzles.
Well, he seems to specialize in Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, and this is his third Saturday, and he's done 2 Fridays, 2 Thursdays, and a Wednesday.
I think that's a name that strikes fear in my heart. Slonecker, oh no. So
I think I've seen worse. I still think that Sam Mazursky puzzle from about 2 months now, which still feels fresh in my mind, because I still remember the going down in flames on that one.
Oh, yeah.
But this one, I mean, yeah, at the very beginning, I had to let's see if I can find any clue anywhere in the grid that I can answer.
The clues, I mean, you read the clues, they were so really kind of obscure. Direct marketing tactic, first act, subs reference.
Whoa. Let's answer some of these.
Well, but I mean, just listen to the clues. Spendy, puzzle, fly traps. They're just, it's that could be a lot of things, or maybe it, didn't conjure up any word for me at all. But yeah, I just found the first 3 or 4 lines is I have no idea.
Right.
so anyway.
Yeah, and I think, even if there are some there that you think you might know, because they're there in a sea of clues that you don't know the answer to, you just sort of start to give up. For example, 6 down, 3 letters, Sully was Mar.
Right.
I think that was my first.
Oh,
Because it's just it's Sully, Mar. I mean, that just sort of made sense to me. What about 4 down, Temple Square letters, LDS?
I did know that.
Okay,
yes.
So you knew one there.
But, I usually go through the crosses about a third of the way down. So I didn't know, I didn't get that until I had gone about a third of the way down and hadn't filled anything in. So yeah.
Well, they had ones ones that I thought I should get. What passwords unlock 1 down? And it was access. And it took me a while to get that.
I didn't. I wanted it to be site,
or account or something,
right?
But it was just sort of very general there.
Yes. And then 2 down was
arrive curbside.
I put pull up.
Well, first I had up, and then I decided it must be taxi up,
Oh.
And then I decided it was Uber.
Taxi up.
Well,
Maybe if you're in an airplane.
I had 4 letters. I had 4 letters that I had to. No, you're in a taxi. The taxi comes up to the curb, and you get out of your taxi.
Right.
So that didn't work. So then I switched to Uber up.
Oh, yeah.
And that didn't work any better. And eventually I stumbled upon a roll up. But I did, 22 across, puzzle out, I went for sus pretty much immediately. And then 23 down, I had it starting, it was cyberspace, ? But it was the word cyber, space, and then the word space, ? And so I went for storage, and that turned out to be right. So that was helpful.
Yep.
But then that T of storage, all of these clues are just so interesting. 26 across, ward off bad luck in a Greek tradition. I had it ending in T, and so I thought, oh, it's salt. Like you would, to ward off bad luck, you would throw salt. But apparently, well, you do, right? A pinch over your left shoulder, right? That's what you do to ward off bad luck. But it turned out, apparently the Greeks spit. So, which I find rather rude. But
Yeah.
in any event, that was the answer there. What about 37 across? Hanes brand once sold in ovoid packaging, legs.
Yes, I did get that.
I think I got that one too. I was sort of like, not quite sure. Well, I had the G of storage, and so that helped sort of ground it.
Yeah, I think that's about the first one I got across.
I confidently wrote down for 46 across, after a little bit of, I had 51 down, carrier to 46 across, and 46 across was 1988 Summer Olympics host. I'm like, oh, great. Pop culture, even if it is from 1988, which makes it like ancient history. And I thought it was Korea. And it was Korea, but it was Seoul in Korea. So eventually I backtracked, and then 51 down was KAL, Korean Airlines, which is what made me think of Korea as opposed to Seoul.
32 across, they're not afraid to take charge. Went the length of the puzzle. Fearless leaders.
Yeah.
And, when I got that, I just felt so good. It's like, oh, I got that. I had to get, a few letters before I finally could see it in the puzzle. But I'm like, whoa, I got that. And that really did turn the tide for me. Once I got that one, and then I felt like, well, maybe I can get this one done.
Right. Yeah. Because that's a big chunk of grid there.
Right in the middle. Yeah. So that really did help me a lot.
Right.
And then they had another one going 8 down, right in the middle. Kitchen flippers, slotted spatulas.
Right.
I got the slotted. I thought, well, I could kind of see the slotted, and then flippers. I thought spatulas, of course. So I did get that. So yeah, when I got those long ones, that really makes me feel like, oh, I can conquer this puzzle.
Well, for 8 down, so I started off, because I knew 1 across was early electric lights, so I knew it was going to end with an S. So I had to start. So I knew that 8 down had to start with an S. So I started off with spatulas, because I thought, well, those are flippers. And then I didn't know what to do with that. And then I decided maybe the flippers were the people. And so I went for short order cooks, which fits. And I was very proud of short order cooks, except it didn't work anywhere else.
No.
And it was again. And then eventually I got spatulas in the right place. And then I had to figure out what kind of spatulas. But then 24 across, fly traps, which was mitts, MITTS, which was cute.
Yeah, that was cute.
That gave me a T, and so I started thinking about slotted. I forgot about 27 across, noted name and lithographs, Ives.
Yes, Courier and Ives.
Right. See, I wish I had a memory. I could do so well in these crosswords if I had a memory.
I didn't think of that name right off the bat.
No, but I didn't know what to think of it.
Oh, right.
Let's see, 17 across was, as you already mentioned, the clue, but the answer for 17 across subs reference was classroom roster.
Right.
That was brilliant.
Right, yeah.
because I had a feeling that it wasn't going to be a submarine somehow, but and it's interesting. Normally when they have an abbreviation like sub as opposed to substitute teacher, it means that they're going to have an abbreviation in the answer, but they didn't hear. Mm-hmm. Oh, 7 down. P, B, D, T, K, and G. And I'm like, are these like, okay, so I thought P would be a pawn, B would be a bishop, K would be a king. I wasn't sure what to do with the D, T, and G, though. And but it turns out it was plosives.
Right.
I guess those are sounds if you go P, B, and so forth, you're exploding as you say them. I mean, not literally.
I knew it had something to do with phonics, but I wasn't quite sure.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the sound, because allow me to repeat that one more time just to annoy our listeners with all the plosives. P, B, D, T, K, and G. Mm-hmm. I think those are the sorts of things that microphone socks are invented for. But
okay.
I like how we had mitts running into 18 down. Subject of the 2021 documentary Once Upon a Time in Queens, Mets.
The Mets. Mm-hmm.
And the one next to it, 9 down, D centers. That's DE-CENTERS question mark. And the answer was cores.
Right.
I'm like, what? So, I guess that refers to like fruit.
Decenters, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was even after I got it, I didn't know why it was correct. And then that was also part of 9 across. Modest home in Modesto, say, casita.
Yes.
So is Modesto in Mexico or
There's
California?
A Modesto in California, I know.
And they call them casitas there?
They might.
Oh, okay.
Maybe there's a Modesto in Mexico.
Wonder if we have any Modesto listeners.
Casita is a little house.
Ah, okay. Mm-hmm. Let's see. We had another running the height of the crossword, 12 down, juicy stuff, intimate details.
Right, yes.
I got details first and then didn't know what kind, and took a while to sort of figure that out.
Yeah.
Did you know 28 across English folk singer Billy Bragg?
No.
Oh.
No, I did not.
I'd like to brag.
I did not know anything in this crossword.
I'd like to brag that I did, but I didn't. Although, teaching, 25 down, teaching assistants often were graders. That one was pretty straightforward.
Well, except I wanted it to be graduate students.
Oh.
but that wouldn't fit, of course. But yeah, it turned out to be graders. Mm-hmm.
43 across, jumps from one foot to the other was a jets. I don't even know how you pronounce that. Jetes. Jeté? You think it's
French.
I know, but I doubt they'd pronounce it in English like they would in French. But okay, jeté.
I put skips.
Oh, much better.
But it didn't fit.
But you needed that J for 43 down, unhappy chorus jeers.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Oh, and then 48 across, spin right round. So I had enough letters that I thought it was going to be clockwise. And so it was like I had, I think I had counterclockwise or something like that.
Oh.
But it was rotate clockwise.
Right.
That was a challenge. Right. Mm-hmm. Yes. Mm-hmm. What might remove all of your problems? 53 across, eraser.
Eraser, yes.
That was funny.
That was cute. Mm-hmm. The one below it was odd. Cleans up like the Pied Piper. D-rats.
Yes.
I didn't even know D-rats was
that
a word.
That can't be a word. I think the New York Times just quickly wrote it into Wiktionary just so that when people look it up, they say, well, it's in Wiktionary, it must be a word. But look at 3 down. Andrés Segovia won a Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award for it. Classical guitar.
Right.
I'm sure he's famous among classical guitarists, obviously. Mm-hmm. I've never heard that name before, though, so
no,
I plan to go listen to the music after. Mm-hmm. But that was also a challenge.
Yep. It was all a challenge for me.
But we survived it.
We did.
Well done, Blake.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for the incredible workout.
Very good.
All right, well, that's it for the crossword, but it's Saturday, which means it's time for Jam Katwa, the Gene and Mike Crossword of the Week Award.
That's right.
And that's where we go back through the crosswords of the week, study and ponder and stroke our beards if we have them, Otherwise, we just sort of, I guess, tap knuckles on noses? Whatever the thinking gesture is, we do a lot of that, and then we announce the Jam Katwa. And this week, we have a tie.
We do.
There were so many good crosswords this week. It really was a fantastic week for crosswords.
It was. There were a lot of very unique ones
Right.
and very clever ones, and even a few funny ones.
The one like Sundays with the phases of the moon,
Right.
Tuesdays with the falling nursery rhymes, and then Friday was there were just great clues in there. But we've gone for Sunday and Monday.
That's right.
You want to talk about Sunday?
Okay. Sunday's puzzle was about the moon, and it had all kinds of clues related to the moon. It was called Working the Night Shift, and it actually illustrated the phases of the moon within the puzzle, starting with a black square kind of toward the top middle of the puzzle, not a black square, a white square with a black circle in it. And then there were subsequent circles that formed actually a circle around the middle of the puzzle. And on the right side, the circles included, the first one was an M, the second an M-O, the third an M-O-O, and then the one at the very bottom was moon. And then going back up, you had a circle with an O-O-N, and then an O-N, and then an N. So it kind of illustrated the phases of the moon as it waxed, and then once again waned to be a new moon where it's not visible. And
Right.
again, the black circle in the square. So just extremely clever. And then, like I said, it had lots of lunar references throughout the puzzle. And right in the middle of the puzzle, the answer, right in the middle of all those circles, the answer was Earth. So not only do you see the phases of the moon, but you see them as the moon rotates around the Earth.
Yes.
So just very, very clever.
Yep. And it was by?
It was by Jeffrey Martinovic and Jeff Chen.
The two Jeffs,
Yep,
as they probably don't call themselves.
probably not.
So, gentlemen, if you feel so inclined, drop us a line, crosswordpodcast at iCloud.com, and we'll have some lovely Jam Katwa swag and a Jam Katwa certificate winging its way towards you in no time.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
Our Monday crossword was understandably a little simpler than Sunday's, but it was still delightful. We had a number of clues. The first was nursery rhyme about a disastrous trip up a hill, Jack and Jill. Then nursery rhyme about the perils of sitting on a wall, Humpty Dumpty. Then nursery rhyme about the hazards of decaying infrastructure, which still puts a smile on my face no matter how many times I read that. And the revealer was nickname for the World Series, or what you might call all of the other theme clues, Fall Classic.
Well, classic. Yeah.
And this lovely crossword was by Michael Lieberman.
Yep.
So, Michael, you can do the same thing as we just mentioned to the two Jeffs. Drop us a line, crosswordpodcast at iCloud.com. And for anyone else who is interested in conversing with us, please do that. Just to demonstrate how easy that is, we do in fact have one bit of listener mail, and this is from Trey. It's sort of a follow-up on what we discussed yesterday.
Yes.
And it's the subject is the big bad Billy Bob boomerang. And let's see. And he said, I was glad to hear it on the show. We read a previous note of his. I was actually about to send a note about yesterday's episode when I saw this email. Sorry, Mike, but Gina's right about bop. The times when bop was clued referring to jazz music and musicians like Dizzy Gillespie are not the same meaning as bop when it's clued as catchy song. Mm-hmm. As Gene mentioned, bop refers to a subgenre of jazz also known as bebop. Pioneered by artists like Charlie Parker and Dizzy Gillespie in the 1940s, bop was a departure from the swing jazz of the big band era and featured smaller combinations of musicians on the bandstand, playing more complex chord progressions with a healthy dose of syncopation. Bop came to define jazz and was the launchpad style for artists like Miles Davis, John Coltrane, and others in the jazz pantheon that today's jazz musicians look up to. As a result, bop paved the way for what you would hear if you walked into a jazz club tonight. When young people, like my teenage son, refer to a song as a bop, they are, for sure, not talking about the subgenre of jazz music from the 1940s. They're referring to a specific song that is catchy and you can bob your head to it. In fact, I suspect bop is a mutation of bob, but I don't have any evidence to back that up. Speaking of language, I've learned from the next generation, yeet is popular among the high school and middle school crowd as more of an exclamation than a verb. For instance, a kid might say yeet as they discard something into a distant trash can. These same kids, though, would never say they yeeted a baseball from the mound to the catcher. Wow. Chalk this stuff up to stuff you pick up by having a teenager in the house. I knew I kept him around for something. Trey.
All right. Great.
Yeah, thank you so much for that, Trey. Now we know about bop.
Bop and bop.
And yeet. And I'm gonna try and casually work it in a conversation on Monday and see how that goes.
Yeah, see if your students take notice. They might really be impressed by that.
Well, they say you should never speak slang in a foreign language, and I think this could be a foreign language. Who knows?
It almost does sound like it. Yes.
All right. Well, that is it for today. So thanks everyone for listening.
Yes.
Really appreciate all the fine compliments we get. Remember, you can always leave us a review on whatever platform you're listening to this podcast on. We really appreciate those 5-star reviews. And we will be back again with our cutting-edge analysis of Sunday's crossword by Sid Sivakumar.
Oh, is it really?
Yes, it is.
Good thing we're getting an extra hour of sleep tonight.
Yeah, we're going to need it to figure out that crossword. We will be back to talk about that crossword tomorrow.
Bye-bye.